What's up, sis?
Oh, nothing. What's up with you?
Not much. We got a lot to catch up on. We haven't talked about. First of all, it's been like 5 weeks since you've been on an episode, which is like a long time
Really?
compared to
Yeah.
normal. Um, but you have been on a few trips. We went on a trip together. We got a lot of
Yeah.
stuff going on with BAM, so I figure we can kind of catch up on all of those things and get back with the people. Really, just catch up with everybody.
Sounds good.
They're wondering what's up with you. So. Um, First thing that I had written down that we haven't gotten to talk about yet was the Orlando trip. So what did you think of the Orlando trip? I guess just in general.
So I turned 24.
Hmm.
Um, but the Orlando trip was actually fun. We enjoyed it. It was actually like some long days, I'm not gonna
Very.
lie. I think everyone was pretty delirious by the end of it. But it was cool getting to hear some different people speak. Obviously, I really liked Ed Milet. He was
Mhm.
a really good speaker. His actually like tugged at your heartstrings, like you had to pay attention.
Yeah.
And then I think the last speaker, I don't remember his name. I had never heard of him before, but he spoke about like the stock market and like
Yeah.
investing and all of that, which I felt like was really good information, and I've been able to share that with people. So I actually did enjoy it. I thought we got some things out of it, some structural things that we could take and implement in our coaching business. So yeah, it was a good time, and I think that the dinners each night were probably my favorite,
Yeah.
but the conference was good as well.
Yeah. So that last speaker, that was Dan Fleischman. So he's
Okay.
he's done a he his kind of claim to fame is that I think he's sold a couple of companies, but he has done more, or he's facilitated more influencer marketing than like anyone else on earth.
Hmm.
More sales on Instagram, more influencer deals on Instagram, all that. One of his companies is really heavy into influencers, but he does a lot of just, he's kind of like a different dude, but he just is a really smart one.
Hmm.
Like really, really smart guy. But
Yeah.
the event was Coaching Con for those of you
Mhm.
guys that haven't heard us talk about it. So we flew everybody out for AR, and you guys have probably heard me talk about that on different episodes. But we brought Addie and Kenzie out for BAM, and so they got to kind of hang out and get some ideas for BAM, which we're actually putting into play right now. With one of the ideas we heard there was a step challenge, and we're right in the middle of that. So, what do you
Mhm.
tell everybody kind of about the step challenge and what we're doing there?
Yeah, so we kind of obviously we've always emphasized like community, like having support, accountability. It's really big and it's important in your fitness journey as well because obviously like the more support, the more accountability you have, the more
Yep.
successful you're going to be, especially when it's a community of like-minded people. So in order to kind of push that narrative along and like, share that message with everyone, we have decided to implement small challenges like the step challenge to
Hmm.
get a bunch of people involved, get them involved, up and moving, allow them to kind of, lean on each other, nurture one another, us also be able to participate and do the same thing, even if my steps suck.
Yeah.
I probably have like 100 today, but it just gives us a chance to kind of, meet more people and make more connections, allow them to make connections with one another, and also push that narrative along of the community of, the accountability that we're able to provide, not only from us as the coaches, but from the people who are doing the same thing as you day in and day out. So
Hmm.
that's kind of what we're doing with this step challenge.
Yeah, yeah. It's a big community push, and that's
Mhm.
kind of what we've always talked about being about is the community side of things. That's why we
Yeah.
named it the BAM Coalition. Um, so it's really cool. We've got like over 90 people that are
Mhm.
participating in it. Tons of people like commenting and interacting in the group. I don't know if you saw it because you had a couple of calls before this, but I posted like a giveaway, like a $10 Starbucks card giveaway this morning, and we got like 30 comments like that about like people posting their steps, and people were already at like 14,000
I
steps at
know.
like 11:30 a.m., which is crazy. But the this type of stuff just kind of makes it super fun because it gives people a little bit of competition, which I feel like a lot of people don't really realize that they miss once they get out of like sports and just the things that we do when we're younger. and it also gives people a an excuse to implement something like this, an excuse to
Mhm.
just get active. We talked about it on the live the other day, but the the two habits that we always preach on that can have the biggest like needle mover, I guess, effect on your health and fitness, even your physique, really, is steps and walking, or sorry, steps and water. Meant to
Mhm.
say. So, but we didn't do a water challenge because that just sounded like it would be a little bit weird, and people would be trying to drown themselves to win. So, we're
Yeah,
doing a step
literally.
challenge. We're going to be doing a lot more things like that, but I think it's going to be really cool for the actual just community to kind of get a
Mhm.
little more tight knit, people to meet each other and connect and all that.
Yeah.
Speaking of you getting your steps up, you are starting prep, or have started, technically started prep.
Yeah, so I would say it's more like a cleanup phase kinda right
Okay.
now, like, we're tracking food, slowly adding cardio, so we kinda slowly, like, dwindled the food down and slowly increased the cardio over the last couple weeks, um but yeah, I mean, that's like the ultimate goal why we are entering prep pretty much right now. And that's what we're going to push for the next couple of weeks, couple of months.
Yeah.
And then eventually we'll dive in and pick a show probably. But right now, honestly, just focused on like the process rather than like the end goal because I don't want
Yeah.
to stress myself out with you have to be ready by this date. Because I feel like, that's kind of how the process went last time. And I want to have a better experience with prep. So, yeah, that is the current goal.
What do you guys what kind of like timeline are you thinking, like aiming for?
Well, I was thinking around July and August, and then Jermaine and I had a long conversation at Memento Mori with Andre Ferguson, and he was like, "Why are you waiting? What's the holdup? Why are you waiting for that July August timeline? Like, why not just push now?" So after that conversation, I think we're both kind of like locked in and like ready, and essentially that's what we're going to do. We're just going to try to dig deep for as long as we need to, and then if I'm ready before July or August, then we'll put a show on the board before sorry. We'll put a show on the board before then, but if I'm not, then obviously we'll keep pushing. So that's kind of where we're at.
That's crazy. So
Yeah.
what is Jermaine kind of thinking the same thing? Are you guys trying to compete at the same show, or is it like he might get ready before you, or you might get ready before him, and then you just compete at different times?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just whenever we're ready. We haven't looked at like any of the same shows. Obviously, he's already a pro, so he's looking at, pro shows, where can he be competitive, like what would be best for him. So I doubt we'll compete at the same show, and honestly, he might be ready before me. He gets lean so quickly. It's insane. But yeah, it'll just be like, one doing because I think we both want to support each other on whatever weekend it is. So he'll probably do his thing one weekend and I'll do mine another weekend. Because I just think that'll work best for
Mhm.
our mental health,
Yeah.
and just keep us both sane. So that is kind of, I think, what we're looking at right now is different shows and different timelines depending on when we're ready.
How has that been so far, prepping together?
It's fun. Yeah, it's been fun. Obviously, we actually like are doing our cardio around the same time, but typically separate. He'll do his outside, I'll do mine inside because I
Mm,
don't like to sweat that much. I don't really like to sweat, and he loves to sweat. So we're finding like different ways. The cooking has been like a blast because like he'll cook a meal and I'll cook a meal, or I'll prep a food for us to have and he'll prep a food. So that's been really nice, and we pretty much eat the same things. Every single day. So that's been really, really easy. But I
yeah.
think it'll be a lot of fun because we also have, big goals for our business, our social medias, like things we want to share, things we want to record. Um, so yeah, I think it'll be beneficial having someone doing it with me and
Yeah.
us being able to kind of help each other through all of it.
Yeah. I think it does make a big difference, honestly,
Yeah.
in just how you feel, and just because there's kind of like a lonelier, dark, that'll be the kind of the telling thing, I think, for you guys, that you'll see where like things start to get tough if you guys go. I mean, I know how I think you're gonna probably react. I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this. but you get to a certain point in prep or in like a just an intense cut where it's like you kind of have to like shut things out and just go into like that lonely dark place kind of by yourself, and it'll be interesting to see how you both do that. I don't know because I didn't obviously know Jermaine his last prep, but I don't know how he'll like react, if he'll get super like irritable or want to be kind of like in like his own zone. He seems like somebody that might like lock in like that, but I don't know. What do you think? How do you think you
Yeah,
guys will
so
do?
met him right before his last prep.
Okay.
So I got to know him right outside of prep, and then I literally knew him through all like 10 weeks of his prep.
Okay.
And so I got to see like what Jermaine's like in prep. There was like something the other day where I think I had a little bit of an attitude, and I don't think I wasn't hungry or anything. I just think
Mhm.
I was being a butthead. And he was like, "If this is how it's gonna be, prep is about to be a long road for you."
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like funny. So I think like he definitely makes light of a situation, and like I'm gonna do my best to not be. I don't know. I sometimes think it's like different for girls because like
Yeah.
we are emotional and I don't know, we just tend to deal with those things a little bit differently than you guys.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it'll be like fine. He'll make light of it. He'll probably try to like, make it a funny situation, and that's going to help. But yeah, he's a lot more like level headed and calm.
Yeah.
He might get irritable every once in a while if I'm being a brat, but I think he'll do way better than I will, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
I think too. I mean, you've definitely had some cuts and stuff, but he's been through like several of
Mhm.
these. So I think that I do think it gets easier to kind of like notice when you're slipping into a very irritable state and try and kind of like temper yourself or temper how you come across. At least
Mhm.
I've noticed that with different cuts that I've been on. Is like the first one, as you know, like I couldn't control. I was just angry at the world
Yeah,
and
that
being
one was
irritated.
bad.
Yeah. But since then, it's something that like you can kind of feel yourself, like your blood's starting to boil a little bit, and you kind of like this isn't like a real thing that I need to be angry about or react to. It's like just an inconvenience, like a normal
Yeah.
inconvenience that you face every day. Like you're cool. Um, but you talked about like how you guys are going to use this for your social media. What what happens, because a lot of people talk about that, like your social is going to blow up whenever you like do a cut or do a prep. Like what do you think happens whenever you do something like that that makes it that way?
I just think that it's like everyone knows it's a hard process, and everyone knows that it's something that not everyone wants to do. So I think that people just enjoy watching it because they're like, dang, that's cool. Like, how are they doing that?
Mhm.
Why are they losing all this weight, or how are they becoming so shredded, or and I feel like prep also gives you time to share kind of the ins and outs of bodybuilding, the ins and outs of the process, the food, the cardio, the training, like all that stuff. So I think it's just like an interesting thing from an outsider looking in. Like you want to know like what they're doing and why, and if I were to do that, like, is this what it would look like for me? So I just think
Yeah.
it's like an interesting thing that people enjoy watching. I've had several friends like compete recently, and I know that like they've grown like a ton over that time period in prep because I feel like you share a lot more. Like you're kind of like, yeah, so this day is terrible and this is why, or like,
Mhm.
look at these new veins that I just found or discovered. So I
Yeah.
just think it's like a cool process that everyone wants to know, like what's the next thing or what's the next happening that's going on within your prep, and it just kind of helps take things along.
I think so too. I think, I mean, we talk about this a lot when we're teaching people with AR funnel is if if you've got something that you're personally working towards, like a goal you're personally working towards, and you can share that, let people into that journey, it's going to it just accelerates the trust that you can build with people, because if they see you
Mhm.
going through the hardships, they see you struggling, they see you transforming and changing, and it seems like it's just happening overnight, right? Because I was always surprised, like people said the same thing about me whenever I prepped, but I always get surprised every time. It feels like whenever I watch like Christian Guzman post his prep, like his stuff, because he does such a great job of just dialoguing it every week and always YouTube videos and stuff, and it feels like it's you look at his before video and then all of a sudden he's like shredded,
Mhm.
and it just he's documenting all of it. So like you see it slowly happen over time, but like if you miss like a week or two of posts and then you look at them again, it's like a normal amount of progress has happened. But for us looking on the outside looking in, it's like, holy cow, how's he doing this?
Yeah, like a new
Um,
person.
yeah, but just allowing people into your journey and showing that you really walk the walk, like you really do this,
Mhm.
I think it just is a trust accelerator at its core.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot, especially being like personal trainer, coaches, like all that good stuff. It shows. I think the biggest thing is, people always say you want to like look the look. You want to show like what you say, what you preach, what you do is what you are actually like doing. And
Yeah.
I think that that gives people a chance to also kind of learn how you do it for yourself. And then obviously you're able to take that and do it for other people. So
Yep.
if you haven't been through it yourself, then you may not be able to relate to those that you're doing it for. And I feel like it's really important for everyone to experience it to be able to kind of relate to other individuals that are on their team or, friends, whatever. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's also like an important factor as well during that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of social media, TikTok ban went through. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings as somebody that makes money from TikTok?
I'm hoping it doesn't actually go through. Like, I'm hoping something happens before then that they're like, never mind, that's a joke, haha.
Yeah.
Um, but what I'm trying to do and what my big goal is, which obviously I've been saying that for months, was YouTube, YouTube, YouTube. But I
Mhm.
finally posted. I've posted
You
twice
did.
now.
That's a
I'm
big
in the
update.
process. Yeah, I'm in the process of editing a third video. So I think that is something I'm going to put more time and energy into. Like, obviously, I'll continue with TikTok. I'll definitely continue posting because, while it's here, like, why not take advantage of it? Why not post, share, grow my audience? But TikTok is something, or YouTube is something I want to definitely continue to utilize and grow on because obviously, like, people who come to YouTube definitely like rock with me and are there for like the long haul. And that is just something that like I really want to have, and I want to be able to develop that community there. So that's kind of my like goal with the socials. I'm just gonna use TikTok, continue to use that, push it, whatever. But I want to kind of slowly move over to the YouTube side of things.
Yeah. Are you going to be using TikTok more as like doing more calls to action for people to go connect with you on other social medias, do you think?
Possibly. I actually thought about since I'm like utilizing YouTube now, posting like the like little clips of here and there from YouTube videos so that
Mhm.
people will go there. Obviously, a lot of people I feel like who have me on TikTok have me probably on Instagram, and vice versa. But I think like TikTok will just be my like very informal, like just talking, just kind of being there, showing up, maybe posting a
Yeah.
workout or two. And then TikTok, or I keep saying TikTok, and then YouTube will be like that long form content where I can actually like, get to know people or post in-depth workouts, those kinds of things. So that's kind of how I'm going to venture the two off so that I'm not recycling content is great, but I don't want to recycle everything
Yeah.
from all three social media platforms because then it's just like, okay, this is
Yeah. No point.
boring.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. What we're kind of telling coaches to do is if you do have the big TikTok following, you need to be moving people towards like your other platforms for sure, like sharing
Hmm.
audiences across your other platforms, but you also need to, which I think we do a decent job of it. You need to get them to what we call owned media. So like media that you actually own. So for example, right now, if TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube all go down, we still have a business with BAMN
Hmm. Hmm.
because we still have however many thousands of people that that have opted in for our Facebook group or that have signed up for our emails or joined the step challenge, for example. Like we have their, for lack of a better word, data, right? We have a way to contact them and continue to run our business, continue to market our services, continue to just
Right.
reach them, right? Um, and so I think that's important too
Hmm.
for what like people that only have a TikTok audience right now and haven't put any work into other platforms is you've got to be able to have your own like email lists and text lists and things like that because you ultimately, just like we're kind of learning right here, you have no literally no sway, no say in this whole thing that's happening. Like
Yeah.
some people built their entire everything on TikTok
Yeah.
and
It's
didn't, and
crazy.
and that's all of their income is just through
Mhm.
TikTok, and that's just cut off. And so if you don't have other things going on, or you don't have any owned media, you don't have any other accounts that have decent followings or that have even heard of your business before, then you're kind of screwed,
Yeah.
honestly. So it's a weird thing. I don't know. I saw like a rumor that the TikTok CEO was gonna try and they're gonna try and like sell every like 80% of the company, I think is how much they have to sell, if I remember right. And so I think they were gonna try and like sell off like the non proprietary parts of TikTok and then keep like the algorithm in like the 20% that they don't sell. So that they would still own the algorithm technically, but the data and all that type of thing would be sold per
Mhm.
the like parts of the agreement that they have to. And they want to sell it to like a non-tech company. So a company that's not already in like the social media sector. So I think I saw that and like a rumor about that, and I could be completely off base. It could have just been like somebody posting an idea of like, hey, they should do this, but um, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out because I think they have like
Yeah.
9 months.
Yeah, yeah. Jermaine's been counting down. The other day he was like 265 days, like counting down the days, and I was like, "That's stressful. Thank you for that."
Yeah, that is stressful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it's with both you guys. You guys both have established businesses and
Mhm.
things going on other platforms too. So there's no doubt you guys will be okay. But it
Yeah.
is crazy, very
It
crazy to
is.
watch it
I mean,
unfold.
so many people have like livelihoods and businesses like on TikTok, and that's where they've made like an absolute killing.
Yeah,
So to potentially have that taken away from them too, like is insane. Like I feel like I've seen so many, not that like I watched them grow up or anything like that, but like I saw businesses that like used to post like a couple years ago and they were like super small, and then like TikTok Shop got invented and they've just like taken off, like
yeah,
sold an insane amount of product because of like TikTok. So hopefully nothing bad happens, because I know there's lots of creators, lots of business owners that would definitely feel the brunt of that. So
yeah.
we shall
Um,
see.
we shall see. It'll be interesting.
Yeah,
You said Memento Mori. You guys just got back. You went to LA for the
I
weekend. How
did.
was that?
It was good. LA had beautiful weather. I'm
Mhm.
so jealous. We come back to Houston, it's 80 and humid and cloudy and sunny for
Yeah,
5 minutes. LA was like so gorgeous, sunny, cool, like the best weather. Um, it was a lot of fun. It was a good time. It was very, very hectic. Memento Mori was huge, like so
I saw
much
it was
bigger
in
than it
the
was last year.
yeah. I saw it was in the Coliseum.
Yeah, so like we like all entered through the gates like where you would for like the football game.
Yeah,
And then like instead of being like inside the stadium like on the field, it was like outside, like where all like the stands are and like all the concessions and stuff where people would be walking. That's where it was. So they had like the stage built in front of like the big entrance, which was the little coliseum with the
yeah,
fire flame thingy. um so all of it was like out there, but it was a big group, like much bigger than I anticipated, because I mean last year it was a lot of people, but it was nowhere near the amount of people that came this year. So that was pretty cool to see. There were like lines waiting outside the gates, like huge lines waiting to just be let in. So like
yeah,
it's very cool to see like the impact that dark sport has had, and like the impact that a bunch of these athletes have had on those people, for them to like recognize the brand or align with the message. And it was kind of like a big party, big celebration. So I think everyone
yeah.
had a good time.
That's awesome. Did
Yeah.
you said you got to meet Brandon Hendrickson? Did you guys talk
Mm.
about the social media stuff?
It was Andre Ferguson.
Oh, Andre. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Brandon's the one that
No,
commented in defense of us, right?
no, that was Andre
That's Andre.
Ferguson.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
did you talk to Andre then about the haters?
Yeah, he actually said something to us. He was like, "Yeah, like those people keep commenting back to me on
Yep.
your like the comment or whatever," and he was like, "I'm just ignoring them. Like, why? Why give them the time of day? Like, why would you comment back? Like, who cares? Like, they're gonna keep talking. Like, it doesn't really matter." So he was just like saying, ignore it, like do your thing, and he kind of told Jermaine the same thing, like just head down, lock in, like do what you got to do. Like don't pay attention to the people that come and try to like tear you down because that's all they're looking for. They're looking for like that reaction. So
Response. Yeah.
yeah, it was cool to hear someone like older than us, like who's been in the industry for a long time, tell us, like don't even worry about it. Like do your thing and whatever you do, like eventually that'll pay off. So yeah, it was cool to hear from him.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, did you guys get to meet anybody else that you thought was pretty cool?
I mean, I got to see all like the Darksburg girls, which was always fun.
Hmm.
I don't I didn't meet anyone. I don't think he did. I know that like I met a few girls who like had followed me on social media, which is always a good time. Like it's always fun meeting them or like hearing about, what they do or their story. So
Yeah.
I loved getting to meet them. I think he met a couple of guys. I think he saw like a guy he posed with at Alpha Land before. So we got to run into some faces that have seen us on social media or we've seen before, which was really nice. And then my dark sport girls and a few of his friends. So it was a good time. It was so big. Like I don't know, you wouldn't even be able to like find anyone if you wanted to find someone. So
Really. That's
yeah.
crazy. That's really
Yeah.
cool though, and
Mhm.
especially getting to go to LA for 48 hours. That's fun. Was LA like? Because I know you guys went out and about a little bit. Was
Mhm.
it? You always hear either two sides of it. You always hear LA is like awesome, or you hear LA is like full of just a lot of bad stuff going on and like homelessness and like
Yeah.
it's just not a good sight. So what did you guys experience?
Yeah, so there are like a decent amount of like homeless individuals in like the LA downtown area because we were actually like in downtown LA.
Mm,
The view was beautiful. We were in like basically like a high-rise hotel, so we were up in the air like on the 15th floor, I think, and like the
wow.
view was really pretty in the morning and at night. But like walking around, like yeah, homelessness is obviously a prevalent issue there. And then I think it's funny because I saw a TikTok actually like a week before we went to LA talking about like Skid Row, which was apparently like a dangerous part of LA. So we
Mm,
like looked it up and we were only like 8 minutes away. So I think that just gives you like an idea. Like LA downtown, like there's a lot of graffiti everywhere. Like I don't know. It's like nice. Like there are nicer areas. We went to like a shopping center that was pretty nice. Um, but yeah, I think it just depends on like where you are, which is
mm,
kind of any city. Like there's some
true.
parts where you're like iffy there, and then there's other parts that are like really nice. So I think it's like the same thing, but we didn't get out enough to really get like a feel for everything.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the rap that it gets is like all those things being such a bad problem. But you're right, it is like that in most cities now.
Hmm.
I know it's like that in Dallas. So
Yeah. I mean, California is also extremely expensive to like live there, so I
yeah,
couldn't even imagine. Like our Uber to get from the airport to the hotel from like LAX was like $70 for like the normal Uber. And then if you wanted like an Uber Black or an Uber XL, it was like 150, $200. Like what?
crazy.
So, yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, that's super insane. Um, BAM summer. We have a lot of things coming up and a lot of things planned. Do you
Mhm.
want to hint at anything that we have coming up? Do you want to talk about maybe what we have in a couple weeks?
I know that we're probably going to be launching a challenge. Another challenge for the summer, kind of like we did last year. Definitely things you should keep your eye out for. I'm also in the works of a program because that's something I feel like I get frequently asked about. So I'm working on that as well so that people have options, people have different things that they can go to or choose from. But yeah, we'll be launching a few of those things here pretty soon within the next couple of months, actually, because it's almost May.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll be celebrating our birthday in
Yeah.
a creative way as well. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be very fun. But yeah, biggest thing is right now we're working on the step challenge and getting that kind of sorted out. We're giving away prizes every day. By the time that you guys hear this, it will have just ended. But by the
Mhm.
time you guys hear this, we will be officially open for people to start enrolling in the challenge. And I believe the way the time frame is going to kind of work itself out, there will be basically 7 days from today when you guys hear this to the day that the challenge starts.
Mhm.
1 to 2 weeks, probably, depending on exactly when we start it. So
Yeah.
what?
I don't know. It's confusing, like recording this in advance and then having
Oh
to
yeah.
think about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I've gotten a little bit better at forecasting it out, but the challenge itself will all be linked down below for those of you guys that want to go ahead and enroll in it. We're going to have the option for you to pay weekly, which is going to be $25 a week, right? So anybody can we want to reduce the barrier to entry as much as we possibly can.
Mhm.
Or you can go ahead and just save a couple of bucks by doing the full on, like the full 6 weeks all at once. We're going to be giving away a lot of great prizes again, a lot of little things here and there, like we have been with the step challenge, but it's going to be a really fun, just community driven event and a great way to just get in shape for summer if you're looking for some extra guidance and help to get to really try out coaching and see how you like it. But
Mhm.
we love doing the challenges. We love being able to see and be a part of people's transformation. So it's going to be fun, but all that stuff's going to be linked down below. So you guys can go ahead and roll whenever you listen or watch this podcast episode.
Yeah.
All right. You got anything else you want to leave the people with?
Nope.
All right. Well, check out, guys. Check out Addie's YouTube and make sure you subscribe to her. If you want to see anything else that we got going on, it's all linked down below. Make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss any upcoming episodes with Addie or any of the other guests, and or follow the show on an audio platform if you're listening there. But we appreciate you guys, and we will see you in the next one.